Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Lose the Veil. My name is Leslie Brown, and I'm going to let the panel introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Solar.
Hello, this is Gene. How are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Soli.
This is Bonnie.
And here are our guests.
Hey, I'm Shoshana.
I'm Eugenia.
I wanted to ask everyone, not just our guests, but what do you consider good sex? That good.
I'm
That
gonna
good loving.
That's on. And when I like a partner with a slow hand, I want a lover with an easy touch. That's for me. That's the approach of good sex. Because as we found out in this workshop that we took, that as women, we need that in order to be involved. And a lot of times we don't necessarily find that in our partners because they don't know that.
They don't know.
Because everything has always been the way they do it. So I remember very specifically being told, we've been trained to have sex like men. I remember her saying that. And because we do, we miss out in the nuances and the energetics that flow to create this divine goddess person inside of ourselves.
Oh my God. And once that divine goddess is like let loose because of the energy, it is fire, man. It is on.
It is
palpable.
It is on.
Yes, it is.
Right? So, no, it's on. No, it's on. No, because that perfect sex, I believe, and for me, is when you're absolutely goo goo gaga crazy in the orbit of love, and that person knows, you know how to touch each other, you know how to kiss each other, you know how to be free. There's no inhibitions. You are no longer the body. That's good sex when you're in there somehow with the body, but the energy is no longer the body, right? And when you can have this bombastic orgasm where you see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing, and then scream with laughter and tears, that's sex.
How do you create that orbit?
Damn.
I feel like, because I agree with you. I agree with, it's kind of like, you and your partner are completely in sync, right? Your breathing is cycled, in rhythm. Everything is in rhythm. Everything is in tune. But what are ways to create that, right? The main thing I got from your response, Gigi, was communication. You have to communicate with your partner. Your partner has to communicate with you about, what they like, what they don't like, right? What Shoshana was talking about earlier, it starts with consent, first and foremost, right? Yeah. Before you get the party started. So what else? What else creates that,
You know in your body.
blissful orbit?
You have to know your body also. But it starts with that love. For me, I'm not a big person on, having sex with somebody when I'm not emotionally engaged. Doesn't work for me. So, when you're emotionally attached and engaged, and the other person is emotionally attached and engaged, that's like the egg meeting the sperm. Because once those two meet, this magic happens. It's like lightning that happens in that egg, right? Now, then there's the magic of that unity, that magic of being able to move together and touch in the way that you like to be touched, and listen to the way that you like to be listened to. That starts to now create the mitosis, right? So that mitosis happens, it separates, and then it comes back together with many more right? You understand what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like a building up. It builds up 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers. It's not just one layer. Put it in and you're done. That's not fun.
Well, I think I would agree, and I would build off of it, and I say, for me, I orient to it not being necessarily about love or emotional attachment, but for me, it's about safety. Within whoever you're having sex with, and also safety within yourself. I don't think that you can have good sex if you really don't like your body. It's because sex is fully embodied, and it's about a connection to the self and understanding where and how you enjoy pleasure. And if you don't like your body, like, it's very common for people to be like, we're gonna have sex, let's turn off all the lights, because you're not trying to see yourself, because you are not comfortable with yourself. You don't feel safe in your own body for whatever reasons. So many, whoever only you know what those reasons might be. Maybe trauma, maybe violence in the past, etc. But it's for me, it comes from about like that safety piece of, can you be safe, and then can you listen to yourself and listen to your own intuition, which as women we've been taught not to do, right? We've been told don't do that, so we stop listening to that and then have a harder time listening to that, don't hear that. And so can we listen to ourselves and our own body around what feels good, and then be bold and courageous enough not only to know what feels good, but then to tell somebody else that it feels good, because that's also not in the mainstream of what sex is, right? Sex is like your partner should just magically know how to do it and what feels good to you, right? Like just magically, like that's just what TV shows us, what porn shows us, what all these things is. There's never in these images for us like, do you like it like this? Okay, how about right now?
Right.
How about this? You want me to do more of this or less of this? Yeah. How about if I do this, right? To me, that's good sex. When there's that level of communication, right? And it's like, all right, I want to do this. Can I do this right now? Like, yes. Okay. That piece of it, that to me also makes good sex.
I agree with you.
And I'll say this, love is inside of communication, right? So to me, that's where we bridge. Like for me, it's about the communication and the safety, and love gets created through through genuine communication, right? Love exists.
Exactly. But there are societies also that don't view sex as like I view it, or like we would view it as pleasurable and getting to that state, and it's strictly for procreation. Africa, they are about procreation. And men don't know nothing about sex. They have no idea, no clue that it's for pleasure, not for them.
That's very interesting.
Oh no, it's a totally different mindset, and the way that they move, or even have conversations around sex is very different from how we idealize it from this side. Because that side, and what fascinates me, and even now, is to watch the family want to bring a baby to the clan, right? They know that the family has to have sex, but it's not about pleasure and when you bring a baby to the clan. Men would meet me and like, I want you to have my baby. Not like, oh, you're so beautiful and I want you to marry you and let's have a relationship. No, I want you to have my baby.
Well, sex is a tool, right? That you're back to the patriarchy, because we know that sex from a male perspective is the oldest. It's one of the oldest weapons.
Yes,
it's one of the oldest weapons, and you see it in everywhere. I was just listening to a report about Ukraine and the war in Ukraine and how they are in need of abortion pills because
of the rape.
Rape is still a weapon of war even to this day and going back all throughout history. Mm-hmm. So while we're here talking about creation and love and sensuality and consent, we could see how patriarchy flips it real quick. And
none of those factors are involved.
I think I heard on one of your earlier episodes you were talking about, or maybe you, Solar, were talking about like the destruction and creation not being like a necessarily good or bad thing. I feel like that theme right here in sex also, like sex is not one or the other, but can be a tool for spiritual like upliftment and ritual work, and also a tool, a force for pain and violence.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's mostly violence against women.
So last question would be, how do you feel that the feminine could assist the masculine?
The imbalance in the masculine.
The healing of an imbalance of the masculine. Like, how do we assist that process?
That is tricky because the divine feminine, the divine masculine. So we would say the divine masculine is king. The divine feminine is queen, right? Now we have kings pretending to be a king. We have a clown wearing a crown, and he's really a little steward or a little knight, but he's nowhere near a king trying to perpetrate being king. And then now you have a woman who understands, for lack of a better word, your role as feminine, right? We are creative, loving, nurturing, giving creatrix. And the divine masculine needs that type of queen to help him in his kingdom to become greater and greater and greater. But he can only do that with the right queen. Like behind every good man on the side, a very good man is a good woman. Right. So, but I think that there's such a imbalance where there aren't any divine masculines who don't even know that they're divine masculines, and there's many more so that women don't know that they're divine feminines, right? But those who do have found their divine masculines, and I think it's the only way to bring them up is to kind of be in alignment and to help them to be in harmony of who they are and to teach them who we are as a divine feminine.
I feel like along the lines of what you're saying, but less about, man, woman, more about within each person that exists, the masculine and the feminine. And I think a place to start would be to just heal it within yourself. Like if you have an imbalance, whether it be the feminine side or the masculine side within you, like you need to seek that balance within yourself first. And I think that inspires that if you have a partner, regardless of what that partner is, if that partner is a man, woman, non-binary, or etc. Whether you're partnered or not, like even if you're not partnered, I think the best way to inspire others is just by being.
So you were asking that question from a perspective of the ones within yourself?
No, just
just in general.
How do we heal that imbalance in the divine masculine? Because that imbalance, the imbalance exists on a grand scale, like worldwide, right? And then it's perpetuated by men in power. But it's something that's present. I think it's important to note that it's something that's present in every human being, not just in men, the imbalance. You know what I'm saying? Right. There's an imbalance in
the female.
So you mean the divine feminine within ourselves and the divine masculine in ourselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm real masculine. I had to learn how to balance that.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
Like,
That's what she
for me,
means.
I remember getting
very masculine.
I remember getting an energy reading and being told that like I needed to bring my feminine out more. I needed to bring out that side of me more. That part of me was kind of hiding and dormant, and and so I need to learn how to receive more. That's a real simple
way
one
of
right there.
Yeah.
So I feel like as far as my path of healing, which is like a lifelong path, right? I think for everyone, and healing is an ongoing path, right? It's an ongoing journey. So for me, it's been first acknowledging like, well, what's in balance and what isn't, and then taking it one thing at a time.
Can I just say this?
One part at a time.
So the things that I've been learning too is that you're right. I agree with you that each of us has the male and the female within us, and it's the balance within us that will transform whatever we have to transform, and will heal. So that the healing is ultimately with you, period. And when you begin to hear what's going on inside of you, and I think us in this society, especially in this Western culture, even as females, we have shut ourselves down too, because we have had to be fathers and mothers. We have had to go out into the world and fend for ourselves, which didn't allow us to develop. And we have mothers that weren't the same, so that we took on a lot more male personalities too. So when we talk about reintegrating the divine feminine, it's the divine feminine within humanity, not just the women, but because we have the female body, we may be a little bit more access to it. Not to say that men don't have, because they do, because it's there. It's all the love. It's the love. It's the love energy that exists within each of us that becomes balanced when the love is allowed to flow, or when the feeling aspect of us is allowed to flow and grow. But this whole society is about mash those feelings down. Take a pill. You depressed? Take a pill. You this? Take a pill. Take it. So we don't get a chance
To be vulnerable.
And we don't get a chance to feel the feelings that need to be excavated so that we could see what we need and want. So, but I do agree with you. It is within each of us. It's not necessarily about bashing this one or bashing that one, but just truly healing the individual. And then from that perspective, when your energy is different, then you're going to attract what you need. When your energy, when your energy is more balanced, you'll attract something more
and
balanced.
spark others.
Yeah,
what's
absolutely.
the word when you're
inspire?
It's when you like ignite in others.
Ignite.
But what's that word? Resonating. It's it'll come to me. Tuning fork. Sorry, how to say it. Tuning fork.
So, is it really true that people have both of that stuff in them? Is where I'm like, is that true?
Masculine and feminine?
Really?
Masculine and feminine?
Really true?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's true for you. I'm just asking the question. Okay. And I'm clear that that duality lives in human nature. It's available. It can be accessed. What do we do to heal? First of all, men don't just all of a sudden turn up one day and become a 40-year-old man who is sexist or whatever it is that he is, apparently.
We birth them, don't we?
Okay? Yeah. Women, from the moment of, as Gigi put it, the vibrating egg, allows that one unique sperm to be the one, choose, have a choice along the way. And then the way we nourish this egg, the way we nourish ourselves, the clearing that we become for, the space that we're going to create for this human being to be like a real person.
But
from day one.
Yes.
Okay, so Putin didn't just appear and is now, this, as people allege, murderer. He, at some point, was on the tit of somebody and,
That's interesting.
someone had to wipe his ass and give him a pamper.
But can I just say that actually, like, yes, both literally, but also metaphorically, he fancies himself the second coming of Catherine the Great,
Good.
Wow.
which also is a woman. And, in terms of child rearing, women and mothers are the most sexist. Like, women and moms are the ones that tell boys, don't cry. You don't.
I didn't tell my boys that.
That's the common refrain, and you'll see that most patriarchy is, and that's when we know that it's systemic, right? Is that when oppression comes through us, when we see Black cops in Tennessee killing Black men, when women are being sexist, that's when the system is working in a well-oiled machine. So here we are.
Totally. Yeah. And that's when I get pissed off, not personally, Jeech, but when I hear women not having a voice. Are you fucking kidding me? Really?
We got the loudest one. It's undercover, right?
It doesn't even need to be in decibels. As solely, it's like a tuning fork, right? I'm here, and who I be, I don't have to say anything. Women have always had a voice. And then there's, how are we choosing to use this voice along the way? Now, I'm not saying there's not real circumstances where people are like, things are happening. It's crazy.
Right, they're
That's
stifled.
crazy.
Their voices are stifled.
Crazy.
They live in fear.
But even with having no voice, fingers up in the air with quotes. I don't know. One of the things I always love the example of the women in Africa who they were tired of the fighting and the killing and the so and so and so on, and so they got together and they, talking to the husbands or whoever the men are in their life, asking them to please stop the killing, and they wouldn't stop. And so you'd think, well, how do they actually make a difference? How do they impact this happening? Because it seems like it's going to go on forever. They can't kill them to have them stop the killing, but there's always a way. So what do? These women gather around and they go, no sex. So they were on the no sex campaign. You want to kill people? No sex for you.
Do you think that worked?
It's a real story.
We have had an amazing conversation. So many wonderful pieces of information. Please stick with us. We're not done. There's more. Thank you for coming. Say good night, everybody, or good morning.